What's up guys, Americana back with another video. Today we're getting into a pretty interesting topic, so hopefully you guys enjoy. Make sure you leave a comment, subscribe, and check out my website if you'd like any further educational materials. Alright, so let's get into it. Historically, crypto gets an extremely bad rap. This is typically because of the amount of volatility involved with investing in this asset class. But how would you feel if I told you that $5 a day could quietly turn into life-changing money even if you start investing with no strategy and at the wrong time? Forget moonshots, leverage trading, or trying to time the bottom perfectly. This is what very basic discipline will do for you in the most volatile asset class on the planet. Alright, so here's the scenario, okay? Let's say you gave up $5 a day, so your morning coffee every single day, since the beginning of November 2021. Which marks the exact top of the Bitcoin market in the previous cycle, right? So quite literally the worst time to invest. But let's say you started then. That's just how it shook out, right? Over 1,200 days, you would have invested $6,440, and currently, as Bitcoin sits right now, that would have more than doubled to $15,000. So I want you guys to understand something. Starting with a very small amount does not prohibit you from making money in crypto. Even in this example, when you're starting at the absolute worst time with no plan other than to just buy the same amount every single day, you are still going to make money. Not only are you going to make money, but you're going to outperform most other asset managers, most other asset classes, right? You're going to outperform the S&P 500. You're going to outperform actively traded funds. You're going to outperform mutual funds. You're going to outperform annuities. You're going to outperform gold. You're going to outperform CDs. You're going to outperform bonds. You're going to outperform everything, even with no plan, just by remaining disciplined. I want to stress that point. And even with the small amount of money. You'd be doing what most people say you shouldn't at times, right? When everybody's saying sell Bitcoin down here, right? We're at the lows, sell. You'd be buying through that. You would have bought through the whole bear market and the whole way up, okay? Again, this is not the most ideal strategy. This is not something that I preach, but I want to get the point across that as long as you're disciplined in this market, you really can make money. This asset class, despite all the volatility, despite what you see in the news, really has been the best performing class to hold and build long-term wealth over the last 15 years now, maybe, right? It moves faster than real estate. It destroys index funds. And it levels up your capital in ways that no traditional asset can. As it sits right now, like I said, you would have more than doubled your money even with no strategy. Now think about what happens not only when you show up and not only when you are disciplined, but when you have a real plan behind you. This is where my strategic buy scaling system comes in. It builds on this idea of compounding over time, but with two critical edges in this market. Smarter allocation of funds as we dip lower, while ignoring high prices here in the red shaded box. Not only that, but the biggest part of this strategy and what everybody seems to miss is that there is a time when every single altcoin takes off no matter what, but you can still get them for cheap. You will see time and time again after every single cycle. When Total 2 finally breaks out, Bitcoin has already pumped over 600%. There is nothing stopping you from taking your 600% gain and shoving it into every single altcoin that has yet to pump. So let's take a look at some examples here. This purple line here, we have Doge, okay? You would have taken your 600% profit, rotated into Doge at 4 cents, and could have sold at 36 cents. This is how I was able to turn $60,000 into over $1 million, never day trading, never guessing, and without ever burning out, right? We're looking at the monthly chart here, guys. 2 to 3 hours a month, life-changing wealth, low stress. It's a pretty simple decision. Bitcoin from 2014 to 2018 has seen over 50% annualized gains. This is after falling 70, 80, 90% at times, guys. So that should show you just how far and how fast we pump when we do. And you have years to allocate at lower prices. Each of you need to ask yourself, can you afford not to invest in this? Are you going to be able to get better money somewhere else? Are you going to have something else that literally goes on sale 80, 90% every couple of years just for you to buy more? There's no other asset class that's going to give you this, okay? There's none. It's simple as that. The opportunity cost of doing nothing in crypto is absolutely massive. This is not just about the gains, okay? This is about missing the one thing that can close the wealth gap for regular people. Normal, everyday, 9 to 5 people becoming millionaires. Now, I'm not saying you're going to become a millionaire on $5 a day. All right, I'm not saying that. I simply use that for an example. But you can still make a rather large amount of money even on $5 a day. The example I showed you was with absolutely no strategy, right? I target anywhere from 15 to 25x. We'll just call it somewhere in the middle, 20. So let's say you had invested that same $6,000, 20x'd it over 3 to 4 years. You'd be looking at over $100,000 simply by skipping your morning coffee. My system takes advantage of when everybody is sleeping on this market, right? As the market gets quieter, we simply stack more. We buy more. That's all for this one, guys. It's going to be rather short, but as always, if you're serious about building a long-term crypto plan tailored to your goals and lifestyle, I made a free PDF breaking down exactly how my SBS system works and how you can apply it with absolutely any budget. Just comment SBS below and I'll send you the link to download it. See you guys in the next one.